Think we should be about good. So welcome everyone to this week's Marketing Mastery series. Thank you guys all for coming. We have a bit of a special webinar today because we have Annie Sloan from the Host Co joining us. So she's going to be going over her secrets to vacation rental upselling. We're going to be covering our integration and going through some examples of Host Co power users and really diving deep into figuring out what makes their stores work, and what you need to do to get there, essentially. So, Annie, if you want to take it from here.
Yes, hello everyone, and thank you for having me, StayFi. I'm really excited to talk about the power of upselling and then show you how it works, and then really show you how to set it and forget it. And that's the most important thing is setting it up and then doing very little. So we will get right into it. We're obviously going to talk about the secrets to vacation rental upselling, but we'll also talk about the basics of how you do it, why you do it, and how to add it through StayFi. A little bit about me. I am the CEO and co-founder of the Host Co. I'm coming from a big tech background, but I have been a short-term rental host for about 13, actually 14 years now. And I have done short-term, mid-term, and long-term, specifically focused on short-term. So I feel your pain is is why we created this product. You know, I have guests at midnight on a Saturday night texting me and saying, "Hey, we ran out of firewood and we're 30 miles from a store. Where do we get firewood? Oh yeah, and we've had 2 bottles of wine." You know, and you're like, "What am I supposed to do for you guys?" Or, you know, being at a birthday party, maybe even your own birthday party, and writing back to guests about getting a late checkout, right? And checking with the cleaner. And so we created this product really to solve so many of these pains for ourselves and also find an extra revenue stream. And briefly about the Host Co, what we do. We add upsells to your rentals and upsells in the manner of a little digital storefront. We call it a mini market sometimes, that is shared with your guests right after they book. Hey, thanks so much for booking. We're so excited to have you. If you'd like to add any upgrades or local services to your stay, check out our store. And those local services run everything from massage and chef to your own services, like obviously like checkout, parking passes, bike rentals, on-site things you want to sell, case of water, firewood, sunblock, to services that you and your ecosystem of providers that you're already using can provide. So for example, mid-stay cleaning. Maybe you have someone on your team that will do firewood delivery, things like that. And we'll get into some of those different kinds of upsells in a moment. How the Host Co works briefly, if you haven't seen it before. Through our partnership with StayFi, we instantly create a storefront for each of your properties. And each of those storefronts has your key photo, the name of your listing, and it is based on your zip code. So automatically, we port in all the local amenities and services that we've already vetted at the Host Co into your store. And then you can also add anything else you'd like to offer. Again, late checkout, on-site sales. Hey, my sister's a portrait photographer, and everyone coming to the beaches of North Carolina wants their family photos on the beach for their holiday card, right? You can offer that third-party vendor service of your own. Or, you know, hey, we'll do birthday party decorations or holiday decorations for this year, things like that. And once again, your store, which is simply a web link, much like an eBay web link, right, is shared through to your guest through your automated messaging. So it always is just a web link that you share through StayFi. In this case, you can also share it through your PMS. It is a web link. Now, backing up briefly, what the heck are upsells? Because upsell is kind of a vague term, right? And upsell is like, okay, that could be a lot of things, but upsells are services, rentals, and products that enable guests to upgrade their stay. And that part is really important, upgrade their stay. You're never selling anything with an upsell, right? You're not selling a coffee pod. You're not selling a $1 toothbrush, right? Hotels have long understood how upsells really improve their business. In fact, a full service hotel is going to make about 30% of their overall revenue on upsells. If that's a room upgrade, if that's, hey, your room isn't ready, go have a drink at the bar. If that's enjoy our spa, right? All of those things are always positioned as an upgrade, as an addition to the stay. Hey, you know what? You went horseback riding yesterday. Maybe you'll want a massage today, right? That is a great example of an upsell where it makes the guest feel more taken care of and not sold to. And that is the intention with upsells in general. And those start with things like curated local amenities from local providers. If that's massage, if that's chef, if that's hibachi night guy, if that is outdoor movie night setup, right? There's a vendor in many towns that will bring inflatable outdoor couches and an inflatable screen, and that becomes your yearly tradition when you have your family reunion at this rental, right? It's a good example of that. On-site upgrades, that's things that generally you and your team provide. Fresh flowers, firewood. You can connect your own vendors. So your florist, your baker, your cleaner to do all of those types of things. Rentable products. So obviously, bikes are a case, kayaks are a case, but we also see property managers renting fancy telescopes. We see them renting outdoor movie night projectors. We see them renting, special off-road backpacking kits. I know that's a weird one, but rentable products could really run the gamut, even margarita machine. And in terms of rentable products, what the host code is doing is you can rent those for $1. You can rent those for $0 if you want, but it's helping you keep track of who had it last and signing a terms of service that say, yes, I took this. Yes, I understand how to put it back, right? There's a lot of things in that rental category. And then there's things like alterations, pool heating, late checkout. Some of these you can do with your property management software, but some of them you can't. So an example might be instead of a pet fee, you're going to do a deluxe pet experience, which I highly recommend for all of you. As we all know, people's pets are their babies at this point. So that would mean, hey, you not only get the pet fee, but you in the closet, you have two cute little bowls and a toy in a basket, and you can have your cleaner set that out, or through the host co you can let your guests know right after they book it, hey, that item's in the closet, code is 1234, or that item is in the closet along with your pet fee. So there's lots of different alterations. And then there's also a few things that are upsells that you might not consider upsells. So for example, gratuity. So you can do gratuity through the host co. I don't recommend doing that unless you have a large property. Like my properties are 2 bedrooms. I'm not going to do that. But you can say, hey, if you loved your stay on your 10-bedroom place in Orlando and you've got a bunch of kids there, you can tip the cleaner. You can also set up your host co store to alert your cleaner every time they get a tip. That is incredible for employee loyalty. Same thing for firewood setup or things like that. You can also do gift certificates for future stays, which are a fantastic upsell because you're getting that money up front. And sometimes that doesn't even get redeemed by whoever that's going to. You can upsell things like expedited return package, right? They left their laptop. Oh my gosh, I need it in North Carolina in 6 hours when I have to go to work. You can have a tile in your store for that as well. So it really goes on and on, but those are very good examples of upsells. And again, you can see how hotels, you walk in and immediately, hey, check out our spa. Would you like something to eat, etc. That kind of thing is how you position upsells as a value add. And I always say that upsells are really an exercise in awareness of what your guests already want and are looking for, rather than selling them something. If everyone's coming to your town to go to a specific restaurant, have a tile in your store that says, book a table at French Laundry. And you can have an open table tile in there and you can make affiliate profit. Same thing with if everyone loves your sheets, you can have a tile in your store that says, buy our sheets. And you can have your own affiliate in there for Brooklyn or whoever you'd like to have, right? All of these things represent upsells of guests that your things want to do already. That can include experiences as well. So if everyone's coming to your town in Alaska for this fish run, put that in your store because everyone's going to want that. If everyone has to take a ferry to get to your island on a lake in Texas, put where they get the ferry and how they buy tickets to it in your store. Obviously, the benefits of upsells, as I said, full service hotels make about 30% of their revenue from amenities and upsells, which are kind of the same thing. How much revenue in short-term rentals? So we've got about 16,000 doors on the host co. We have property managers who are paying out over $10,000 a month in their upsells. And I will tell you, they're primarily selling late checkout, massage, and guided hike, right? Those are the three main things they're selling. We have seen sales as large as $3,600 from a single guest. Hey, I'm coming for a girls' weekend. I want a chef's dinner for 8. I want 4 massages, and I want like a herb picking experience provided by the property management company. So you can expect an average door is going to be, I think it's $261 in your sales of an upsell. That's very average. If you are more booked, you're going to have a lot more than that. We have property managers that we're paying out $3,000, $4,000 a month. If you're only selling one thing, it might be a little lower than that. But there always is going to be revenue for you, and it usually is revenue that is instant to implement and very, very little work for you to do. Okay, the second one of those, and we will get to the demo, of course, too, but operational efficiency. So your guest books, this is my experience. Guest books, my rentals are in Joshua Tree. Guest books, they reach out and they say, hey, you know where we can find a Reiki healer? Because it's woo-woo Joshua Tree stuff, right? So, and then I would write back and say, yep, here is a website. Oh, hey, they're not available that day. Do you know of someone else? Yep, here's the phone number, right? Hey, are you sure you have their phone number right? Yep, that's their correct phone number. Oh, they're not available that day either, right? All of a sudden, you're doing all of this work, right? Someone asking for an early check-in, someone asking for where to buy tickets to the ferry, someone asking where to buy firewood, right? All of these things, you can put them as tiles in your Hostco store, and your guests stop asking the questions because you've answered their questions before they ask. We've had property managers say, this decreased our guest questions by 70% right after they book. Because again, here's that restaurant you're looking for. Here's that fish run you're looking for. You are really making things so much easier for yourself by not only telling them, oh, I already understand your needs, but I'm also showing you how to fulfill those needs, right? Huge operational efficiency. Obviously, improved guest experience. And we'll talk about some of the fun upsells we see that really do improve that guest experience. And then differentiator and saturated markets. So the great thing is, through amenities, it's really helpful to increase your rebooking, especially in low season, and especially if you have direct bookings. And this is why it works so well with StayFi, is because amenities are a huge selling point, right? Especially in areas where there is very little differentiator. You've got great design, you've got great hospitality. What is that edge that you have? So an example is we had a property manager that attached a mobile tattoo artist for the week of Coachella, right? Had to make sure that was legal, but it was their vendor, legal vendor, business insurance, license, all of that insured. That property manager, 3 months before Coachella, sent out an email to their email list, which is very big, and said, week of Coachella on demand mobile tattoo artist. Who isn't going to open that email and read more, right? That is a fantastic example of a marketing email. Another property manager, 3 months before Coachella, sends out an email that says, early birds, 15% off week of Coachella. You're already discounting yourself. You're also discounting your brand. You're also not creating an experience that, guess what? A guest who stays where that mobile tattoo artist, they're going to take a photo and someone else is going to want to book the same place. Those are really edge examples of experiences, but on-site Reiki healer, yoga instructor for your girls' weekend. People take photos of those things and they tell their friends, and their friends say, man, I want to stay there because they have that connected amenity. You can also switch out those amenities depending on the season. You can just use Hostco amenities. You don't have to do anything really, but saying this season, we have on-demand bakery delivery, right? And show a cute little basket of goods. I've stayed at short-term rentals and hotels because they had a pillow that I thought was cool, right? I stayed at a short-term rental because they had a picnic basket that I could take with me apple picking. Those are the really interesting things that are fantastic for marketing, those differentiators, and that people remember. Everyone wants the Instagram wall, as we talk about in your property, but it's going to really help in every aspect of marketing and for rebooking. And very briefly, again, always position your upsells as extras and value adds. If you do offer low cost items, consider bundling them. So that means instead of selling a toothbrush, someone might need sell a local amenities hygiene kit, right? Or have something that is in a bundle. I like to say don't sell anything under $15 unless it's something that everyone needs and it's only that one thing. But another example is in my co-founder, he has properties in Death Valley. People don't realize how dry it's, like the driest place on earth in Death Valley. And you would give your right arm for chapstick if you don't bring chapstick. But selling chapstick, you don't want to do that. You want to sell like, high desert amenities kit. And everyone's going to buy that. You can buy a bunch of them, have them in your closet, and enable your guests to buy that. And they are stoked. They also will take a picture of that. And guess what? Another person says, oh, I want to stay there because look at the cool thing they had on site. Guests obviously love and will purchase unique additions to their stay. Guests, something on site, guests will buy a rock that says Joshua Tree on it. I think we all know that whenever we're on a trip, we are time poor and cash rich. We're like, oh, I want something. So on-site things are great. Unique experiences. We have people that do a Bigfoot experience at their tiny home park in Texas, that kind of thing. And also, again, the awareness piece is like, ask your guests what additional services or amenities they'd be interested in. We also have a chat bot for them where they can ask, and our concierge can try to even find that for them and connect it to your store. But really, it is an experience of, hey, let's just have 3 things that we're starting with upselling. And that is really important. Don't be like, oh, I got to talk to my bakery guy. Oh, that golf cart rental. Just start with 3 or 4 basic things, see how your guests interact with it, and then start to build in your creative things from there based on what your guests are actually looking for and asking for, right? It's so interesting how you start to really realize their questions. How to get started with the Host Co. We're going to go through a demo and show you how to create stores through StayFi or add them to your StayFi homepage that if you've created stores already through your property management software. But essentially what happens is a store is created for you through StayFi, which we'll look at automatically. When that happens, you will get an email from the Host Co that says, hey, here's your Host Co info, here's your login, and you can see all of your stores. And you can turn off, hey, we don't want that local amenity, we want that local amenity. You can turn things on and off. You can add your own. You can also update alterations. Hey, we want to do late checkout by the hour, and it's $25, right? Another really important part of the Host Co is that all of our services are request and approve. So your guests can't ever just buy a massage and say, I want a massage therapist here in 20 minutes, right? Or they can't just buy a late checkout from you. They can request it. And we hold their credit card info while we send you that request. Hey, Annie Sloan is interested in portrait photography on December 19th at this house at this time. Can you fulfill that service, right? That request is going to go not only to you. If you've attached a vendor to it, it's going to go to them too. That's same thing for mid-stay cleaning. You can attach your cleaner's email and phone number for your cleaner to get a text. Hey, Annie Sloan wants a mid-stay clean on this day at this time. Can you fulfill that, right? So all of these services have a bit of a buffer as well. The vendor services that the Host Co provides, as well as any services that you provide. You also can set a lead time for any of your own services. Hey, we need 3 days notice if you want to request a late checkout, or if you want to request a mid-stay clean or a linen refresh, right? So all of that can be seen in your Host Co store. Once you are happy with your store, most people just go, yep, that looks good, to be honest. And that's when your store link will be shared with guests. And you'll see again through StayFi, your store link can be shared in your guidebook, in your homepage. And also through StayFi, it can now be shared with your guests right when they book through your PMS and through StayFi. So once again, in all messages, basically adding a line that says, we're so excited to have you stay. If you'd like to add any upgrades or local services, and I would always suggest saying what a couple of those services are, because again, the words amenities and upsells mean very little. You're like, is that a hot tub? I don't know what an amenity is. I don't know what an upsell is, right? If you'd like to add any services like massage, chef, or sheep yarn knitting tour, that's a real thing in the Hudson Valley that people book, check out our store. Things where you're giving your guests, or late checkout is a really good one too, giving your guests a reason to go to the store. And then when they're at the store, They might see one tile and that's the thing they really want, but then all around it, they're going to see all these other things that they didn't know that they could have, right? So again, when a guest makes a purchase, this is number 2, start selling, the request is sent to the right vendor or sent to you, and you can approve it, you can deny it. If you approve it, your guest is going to get an email. Great, that's approved. We process their credit card fee. And we also pay you out into your HostCo account and then pay you out for that. We also set up calendaring, so you can add that to any of your Google calendars and very soon your PMS calendars. And we process their transaction. If you deny the transaction, hey, we can't do a late checkout, whatever, we can't do a mid-stay clean, we release the hold on their credit card. They get an email from the HostCo. Hey, bummer, so sorry, we could not fulfill that service. We hope you have a great stay. It is a really nice way to say no to people rather than you as the actual property manager or host having to say no, because it makes you look a little bit better, right? And if you don't know if you can fulfill that service, we can hold that request up to 30 days. So it's a great way for you to be like, hey, I don't know if we can do it. We're going to know in a week, right? You might want to let your guests know if it's going to be a long time to fulfill it. If it's on our side, we'll let you know, hey, we're working on that service now. And you get paid out every month for your HostCo services. If your guest books a HostCo recommended service, chef, massage, guided tour of the Everglades, whatever it is, you are going to make 5 to 10% of that booking, which is great. You're not doing any work. We have connected the guest to the vendor, the end. You kind of set it and forget it. We have, again, had property managers attached chef. We had a crawfish boil for 12 people this week booked. That was $1,200. And while that host was asleep, they made $120 because they got 10% of the revenue, even though they didn't have to do any of the work. So it's a really fantastic way to add more revenue and have happier guests there. If it is your own thing you're selling, if it is firewood, if it is a late checkout, if it is a Bigfoot experience, you keep 93 to 100% of your own funds. So we have a free tier of the HostCo where we get a small commission, 7% commission. But then there's also subscriptions where it just removes all the commission. So, if you sell $100 late checkout, you're going to get $93 on the HostCo free model. And you'll see that in our product very clearly stated in the pricing. And I'm sure there's lots of questions that we will get to eventually on this call, but just getting through all the important stuff here. The integration with StayFi. This is a phenomenal integration for a few reasons. One, it's letting your guests know that you have amenities, first and foremost, through their HostCo homepage. 2, because StayFi is creating that marketing stream for you for direct booking, also just creating a better email list, you can integrate amenities into your messaging, right? It's giving you something to talk about that isn't a discount, right? Which is such a fantastic way to go. Also, through HostCo, you are collecting more email addresses because we are giving you the email address of the person that bought that item. So it likely is someone that is on the Wi-Fi, but it could be an extra person. So it is a backup of additional emails that you're getting to add to your CRM. So you will see, as you can see here, right in the middle, what the HostCo looks like in your StayFi homepage. It says shop amenities, and you can see it says late checkout, massage, local chefs, and more, ad services curated by your host. That is going to be the basic HostCo store that you see in your StayFi homepage. And then what happens when your guest clicks on that, they're going to be sent to your HostCo store, which is already branded to your listing. It is extremely light branding from the HostCo, and it is optimized for mobile. So as you'll see very quickly, it's very easy for someone to say, great, pet fee, I want it, Apple Pay, done, right? And we'll look at that, how you set that up with StayFi. A couple of case studies. So here's a case study from the HostCo, Live Free Listings. They in 2023 made $80,000 in revenue from the HostCo. And they are a property management company and they have owners. And what they did is they said, this is guest experience. So this is our revenue as the property management company. And we're going to give a bonus to our hosts every month, right? Here's a $100 bonus for guest experience. So Live Free Listings is keeping almost all of this revenue. And how they did this, why they're so successful with the Host Co. Individual, we make a store for every one of your listings, and they're all in one dashboard for you. Customized store for each property, so they can be a little bit different for each property. Very important, automated messaging set up at booking. Once again, we're so excited to have you stay. If you'd like to add any upgrades. Also, this is the winner chicken dinner, is 1 week before the guests stay. They are getting an automated message, so set it and forget it. Generally through your PMS or through Airbnb, however you are sending out your messages. Hey, get ready, get excited. You're 1 week out from your stay. If you'd like to add any local services or amenities, check out our store. Many of these products have a lead time and need to be booked before you arrive, right? They are getting excited about their trip. They're like, oh yeah, I forgot we wanted to add this one thing. And a lot of things have a 4-day, 5-day lead time, especially if you're in a more rural area. So you're going to want to have that booked ahead of time. They have items curated to their specific listing areas and guests. So obviously a rural property, maybe you want firewood on site, s'mores package on site, late checkout, right? It depends. If you're in a city, you're going to have different needs. You might have, depends on the city, airport shuttle, right? If you have midterm stays, so someone's staying a month, 2 months, dog walker, always good. Weirdly, pet sitting, because if they're staying for 3 months and let's say they're in Europe, they're in Paris for 3 months for a conference or something, they might want to go away for the weekend to somewhere that doesn't take dogs, right? Weirdly, pet sitting, food delivery, like not like caviar, but like a weekly special food delivery, linen refresh. We have property management companies that do a cleaning products refresh for their midterm stays, and people love that. They don't want to go out and get it. Maybe they're working all the time. Oh, shoot, we need more of that, right? And they also have in the Live Free Listings, they have their top selling items at the top tiles of their store. And that's a very easy thing to do. You can drag and drop all the tiles around. If it is your top selling item, put it at the top of your store. Very, pretty intuitive. Adventure Creek Ranch. This is a really fun one. I think this year so far, they've made $24,000 in revenue, and that has doubled their rental revenue from the previous year. So how they do it, they have one property with 6 rentals on it. So they have one store for all 6 of their properties. They've added us to their automated messaging, which has resulted in a 50% reduction in guest inquiries during the stay, which is bonkers, right? So that is like a full-time job right there, right? They have unique offerings for their stores because they're in a rural area and they have 6 tiny homes on one property. They have a stargazing package. And they also generally have a lot of families that will book all the cabins together, right? They have a laser tag. They have a Bigfoot experience. They told us that they had a family book all 6 cabins, and they had so much fun doing the laser tag and the Bigfoot experience that they booked again 2 weeks later. They're like, we want to come back and we want to bring other members of our family because this was such a unique experience for us, right? Again, they have those best-selling items pinned to the top of their store. And also, again, their guest loyalty is just going nuts because not only is it that family, everyone's taking pictures and they're talking about that listing. And lastly, we have Mike Z Rentals. Mike Z Rentals just started, I think, about 3 or 4 months ago, and they've made about 12K. So my guess is they're making about 3K a month here. They have done something really interesting with their HostCo homepage, is that they have done something very smart. They have added tiles in their StayFi homepage for different HostCo products, which is very easy to do. Not only do you have a link for every one of your HostCo stores, you have a link for every one of your HostCo products. So you can point your guest, if they ask a question, specifically to one product in your HostCo store. So what Mike Z Rentals has done is they've added travel insurance, which is travel protection insurance. You can sell that through to your guests. It's $30 for $1,500 in coverage during their stay. And you make, I think, 20% of that sale. So that's a fantastic thing to sell. You can see that Mike Z Rentals has also made it very clear where you can request an early check-in and request a late checkout. And that also, if you want to add that, that is getting people into your store. Custom buttons are very easy to do, again, with StayFi, and we can talk about how to do that. Again, they send their homepage ahead of their guest stay. They send it right after that guest books, reduces guest questions, improves your cart size, your checkout with your guest. They've created those custom buttons that you see, and they have offered custom amenities like mid-stay cleans, fridge fill up, and boat rental. All of those things they are offering through the HostCo that are really specific to their rental, and they know that those guests want to book those. I think we have everything here that we've already talked about, but they've also, let's see, offered things like a dolphin experience and jet ski rentals. All of those things, I will also say, are things that they have a vendor partner do. Anything that is higher risk or that is a motorized vehicle, have it in your store and set up an affiliate for it, right? Certainly, we've had people try and rent their cars, which we shut down. Have it offsite, have Turno, right? Have something else, dolphin experience. You're also going to get through the HostCo, you are going to get affiliate for it, but we push that out to a partner who has the correct insurance for that item. Okay, key success tips. And then we will look at a demo. Obviously, broken record, share the store link at the time of booking as well as 1 week before the stay. You can also share that when they're there, either through a link. Hey, let us know if you need anything. Check out our store, right? Fantastic job of, oh, I feel so cared for staying at this rental. Some people share their store link or the one specific item and their checkout notes. If you'd like to thank your cleaner, here, you do so here. Some people share it after. Hey, if you're looking for a gift certificate for a repeat stay, check out our store. That they're going to see also when they're in the store with, if they have to get something, return shipping, which is such a funny one for you property managers out there. People are like, oh, you can do it. And it's like, I'm in a rural area. It's a 2-hour thing for me to go to that house, get your sweater that you love so much, take it to the post office, ship it to you, and drive back home, right? Making sure that there is coverage for you for that. Second key success tip, describe what's in your store, right? Again, especially if there's one thing that everyone is coming to your area for, have that. If you are next to a stadium in Nashville, people are probably coming because of something at the stadium. You can even put a link in your store that says, check out what's happening at the stadium or get tickets for the da-da-da show, right? Third, this one is really key when you are starting the HostCo, is start with the 4 to 6 things your guests are already looking for. We have people that we met with a year ago, and then we meet them again a year now, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm still working to set that up. I really want to talk to my cousin who will do a tiki bar at the house, but he's not going to provide alcohol, so they have to get the alcohol. All those things are great, and your guests will buy it. But that person who's waiting on that has missed out on $8,000 in revenue on their late checkout and their early check-in and their massage while they're getting it set up. So really getting set up with those key things and then starting to hear how your guests are talking about it, starting to hear what your guests are looking for. That is the best way to do it. It's kind of just dipping your toe in the water of having a HostCo store. And now we can go to the live demo. Troy, is there anything you'd like to add before I move to a demo?
Yeah, first of all, thank you. This has been wonderful so far. I guess the only thing that I would add, or I guess kind of double down on, is that when you're getting started, it is really important in those first couple weeks, months, as you see what's starting to work best in your HostCo store, to take that out and make it a custom button. Because at the end of the day, you know that that's getting a lot of traction. People are really interested in it. Adding it as a custom button is only going to get more people, one, booking that thing, and two, again, into the store so that you can see all of the different options. And really, like, you have an opportunity to build it iteratively from there into this, you know, huge web and network of wonderful things that are customized to each property, but we do highly recommend just starting and getting your feet wet. Even if you are just starting with things that are coming from the host code before you have the time to add, a lot of the custom amenities and things that you might be excited for. At the end of the day, it's easier to just get started and then build on those things as time moves on.
And I will also say when you see some of the host co-amenities, obviously you can turn them on and off, but we've had people buy vegan charcuterie boards. We've had people buy haircuts, right? It is fascinating what people want and what people need in their stores. And it's a lot of fun, but again, start with the basics. So I'm going to share, a different screen here. I'm going to share my StayFi screen. What I have here is when you are in StayFi, if you have not started a HostCo store, and you've not created a HostCo account, you can start through StayFi. And the way to do that is go to Wi-Fi experience on the left, and then go to your homepage. I'm going to go to edit homepage template. I just started this store this morning, so it's not very pretty. And you're going to scroll down to connect hotel level amenities and add instant revenue to your rentals. And you're going to turn that on and you're going to hit update. And that is going to add a HostCo store for each of your properties. Mine, I don't have anything listed as an address. You probably will. So this will probably just instantly populate. But if you don't, how the HostCo stores are built they are based on zip code, and you don't necessarily need to have an address. But it's helpful if you have vendors that are going to arrive at the house, like a massage therapist, to have that already in your store, because then our concierges at the HostCo don't need to ask you for that. Your guests, by the way, do not see that. So they are not seeing this in your HostCo store. Okay, now what that did is if we look at our homepage template, you're going to see, I think here, that you now have HostCo stores in your property. So here you go, shop amenities, and that is going to have a link that is already in your StayFi homepage. Right when that happens, you're going to get an email from the HostCo that says, "Hey, we've created stores for your properties, and if you head over to the HostCo, you can look at those stores in depth." When you look at your homepage, also your StayFi homepage, it's going to show you the link. If you are in your Wi-Fi experience and you go to view your homepage, you're going to see those. And you're also going to see your, let's go to view homepage and see, you're going to see that. Again, as I said, it's not pretty, guys. But you're going to see you are going to see let's see, this one, edit homepage. You're going to see your HostCo link within that store. So you're going to see that HostCo store is right there. That is your link for that HostCo store. You can have that store now embedded in your homepage. You can use that link anywhere. So you can copy that link. If you already have HostCo stores and you're starting StayFi, so if you're going the other direction, or if you already have them totally separate, you can add your HostCo store link right here. So you can update that. You can change it anytime to make sure you are routing your guest to that correct HostCo store. Now, you're also receiving an email that says, "Great, welcome to the HostCo. Here's your account. Log in. You can change your password, but we've automatically created an account for you. So you're ready to go already. You can do nothing and you can watch the requests roll in." But what I would say is check out your HostCo store. I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to go to a HostCo store. It's a different HostCo store, but you're going to get the same idea. Let's see where that is. I think it's on a different page. Here we go. Where is it? It's right here. So can you all see that, or can you see that it says Marin Hiker's Paradise?
Yes, we can see it.
Great. So this is what your host code store is going to look like to you as a host. If you have multiple properties in StayFi, it's going to show you all of your properties already listed. We've made a store for every one of your properties. They're very pretty. They look like your listing, etc. But you're going to probably want to go and check them out. You can click on any of them. Let's go to Hawaiian Paradise here. This is what your store looks like. You can make sure that these are turned off or turned on. You can see that all items here say request on them. You can add links. This is a guidebook. You know, you're doing that already through StayFi, so I would just leave that off. But you can see that we have pre-populated alterations. You can say, you know what, we don't allow pets. I'm going to turn that off. You can see that anything that is active is something your guest can view. If it's inactive, guess what? Your guest cannot see it. We have users who add tiles that they leave inactive. They only add active every once in a while. So sometimes that's a shoulder stay where they're like, I don't want anyone to see it, but guess what? We can do it. Sometimes that it's an I'm sorry product. This is so funny because I didn't even think of this, but oh shoot, the elevator's out at our villa or whatever it is, right? Or, oh my gosh, it's not clean, right? You can add a product that is free for your guests. You can have your vendor, you can say, you know what, book a massage on us, right? Or, you know, we want to deliver some fresh flowers, right? Why don't you book what time you'd like that? Or, you know, free hayride experience. Why don't you book that? That's through your vendor. Guests, as we all know, if you mess up, no discount is ever enough, right? Like, hey, you know what? We want to give you $100 off. Nobody's ever happy with a discount, right? Because it's like they've already spent the money. You can still do that, but giving them a gift or giving them an extra, people love that, right? They're like, oh my gosh, that's so wonderful, right? If you say it's 90% off, guests are like, oh, I thought it was going to be more. So having something that's a nice I'm sorry thing is also fantastic. So looking at this store, every single store is going to have signage. If you want signage, that's your QR code for this store. We have lots of different signs. Some people take these and they put them in their you know, real guidebook, paper guidebook. Some people cut out the QR code and they tape it to a shed outside for things they have rented inside, right? You can use this in all different ways, right? I wouldn't go too heavy on the QR code. Again, nice hospitality experience. You don't have brochures. You don't have a bunch of QR codes, right? Every store is going to have a sales dashboard, and you can see your guest name, their date of purchase, how much they made, how much you made, price per item, date of service, quantity. You're also going to get a receipt for every item that you can also reissue to your guests if you'd like to. You're going to get receipts for every single product. And as of a week from now, you will also be able to cancel or refund an item as long as you haven't been paid out for it. You're going to obviously see how to manage a store, all the other fun stuff with a store, and then upgrade. You can upgrade to remove your commission. It's $15 a month to remove the commission. And let's go back to all the stores briefly. You're going to see your store link again at the very top of your store. You're going to see what you've sold, how much you've made this month, etc. And then you're going to see all of your payout info. So your payout, this is an example store, but you're going to see all of your previous payout history. Something that is great for property managers is that you can, I guess I should start this a little earlier. You can see, I don't have any payouts, so you can see how much you are getting paid per store. You can also calculate, hey, I want to give my owner 20% of that, and I want to keep the other percent. Or how some property managers do this is they say, I'm keeping all of the host co revenue, and then I am invoicing my owner for less. And that makes you a really good property manager because you are charging less than the other property managers in your area because you're making a side revenue stream. Everybody's going to do it differently. You can also pay out to different bank accounts. So if you've got, you know, you got 4 rentals, you can pay out to 4 different bank accounts. It's totally up to you how you want to do that. Now, the last thing I'll say about this is the guest experience. So what it looks like for a guest, let's see, in Hawaiian Paradise, is I'm going to go to this little tab that says guest view right here. And this is what your guest sees. This is optimized for mobile. Your guest is going to see this on their phone. 99% of the time, your guest is going to be seeing this on their phone. So we've made it very easy and very fun and very visual for them to click a button. Let's say private chef. Yes, I have read and agreed to this, that it has a cancellation policy, that it has flexible charges. Yep, I've read and agreed to it. This has a lead time. They're going to request which day, request a date of service. I want this for the 20th of, I'm having a holiday party, right? And then they're going to add it to their cart. This is going to log me out of the experience, but I've read and agreed. I'm adding it to the cart. And then the cart is just like you'd see with like Target, or H&M. It is very much optimized for retail. It's also going to put suggestions for other products in their cart. And then they're going to check out. If they're on their phone, Apple Pay, Google Wallet, etc., they're going to agree to the terms of service and privacy policy. And by the way, if it's a host co-vendor, we have nationally vetted vendors. We use massage partners like Soothe and Zeal, which are national franchise. We use chefs from Fire, Forks, and Knives and one other national franchise. So all of our services and partners are very well vetted. I will also tell you that if on our side, we have 7-day-a-week concierge services on the back end. If our first massage therapist isn't available, we have a second. And in many cases, we have a third, right? And they've all been vetted by us. And in many cases, they've been recommended to us by hosts and property managers. We do not allow vendors to apply to the host co. So we are not getting a bunch of people we don't want. The only way that a host co vendor becomes a host co vendor is through you as the property managers and hosts. You tell us who in your area, because we don't know what people want to do and who the incredible people are, and then we work with them. So your guest checks out, they're going to get an email that says, great, we've requested private chef. We'll be in touch for additional details, etc. And we leave you as the property manager out of it. Once that is approved, again, you're going to see that you just made $48 off of someone booking something through your store. I'm going to stop down now, and we can talk about Q&A. And let's see if we have anything else, I think, in our... I don't know if we have anything else in our
We
list.
do have, I think, one other thing that we'd like to go through, and that's really just making sure that you're utilizing StayFi as well as you possibly can be to drive people to your host co store. Here, I can go ahead and share as well.
I'll stop there.
Are you able to see?
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, and it's really just best practices as it pertains to making sure that you're, making use of all of the tools in StayFi that we've given you to drive traffic to your HostGo store, mainly through your email and your SMS marketing tools that we have within the StayFi tool suite, as well as the pre-stay messages. I know that Annie kind of mentioned these before, but I wanted to bring it up again and then also show you guys how you can actually leverage those tools within your account. So the first thing is going to be with automated email campaigns, making sure that as soon as someone signs into the Wi-Fi, they're getting a welcome email. And obviously, there's a lot of value in that, driving people over to your homepage. But for the purposes of, this presentation specifically, reminding people that once they arrive, you have your guidebook at your fingertips, you have the ability to book again, and then you have those custom tiles or, your tile that drives to the host co. And as soon as people are settling in, they're looking for things to do. They have some things netted out, but at the end of the day, if you're, open to a unique experience, something that you've added, a massage, getting those things in order. It's a really great thing to both have that in your email and also on your phone if it comes through a text. Always have the ability to go back and click on that homepage link or click directly on your HostCo store link and have that wherever you go. In addition to that, the pre-stay PMS message is obviously something that you can use to try and get people to book something well in advance as well. And I'll just go ahead and show you guys how you can do that within the StayFi portal. And before I even jump into that, I did want to mention that When you are getting started, if you don't have your Hostco stores set up already, just to make sure it goes as smoothly as possible, takes the minimum amount of time, what you're going to want to do is make sure that you've connected your PMS as a first step as well. So you can just go ahead into the integration section here, find the PMS that you currently use, click on connect. There's going to be a custom process for, depending on the PMS partner that you are currently using. It might be as simple as, literally just signing in and a couple of clicks. And that really is the process largely for most of them. But you're going to want to go ahead and do that first, and then go over to the property section. And what you're going to want to see is a little orange lightning bolt by the side of all of your different properties. So even if you have connected your PMS, I would still recommend just jumping over here and making sure that they're all connected. Here would be an example of a property that for whatever reason hasn't been connected yet in StayFi, and it's really quite easy. You just go over here and click connect. And what it's going to do is it's going to speak with your PMS and pull up all of your properties so that you can make sure that they are all connected. As you can see, Cozy Forest is not yet. You go over here, match the name and link, and you're good to go. So then when you're going in and editing your homepage template, like Annie was before, to make sure that you're connecting the Hostco and getting started there, that field where it asks you to fill out your zip code and the name of the properties and everything like that will just be done for you. So it'll minimize the process, especially if you have, 15, 20, 25 listings. It'll just get that going a bit quicker. But in terms of making sure that you're promoting your store as best as possible, starting with the pre-arrival messaging, all you're going to have to do is go into pre-arrival over here. And we make it really easy. As I said, if you're already connected with your PMS, you very literally just have to edit this message if you'd like to. And it comes pre-built like this. Will already be directing people to your homepage, and it'll dynamically send this message with the unique URL as well to make sure that it's directing to the right place. And you just go over here and click on. That's all you have to do to get that set up. And that way you can make sure that as soon as people are booking, they have the opportunity to see their Hostco store and book things well in advance, ask for an early check-in, anything like that. And then once the guest is already at the unit, what you're going to want to do is make sure that they're getting those welcome emails and text messages. So I'll quickly show you how to set that up here. You'll just go over here to Wi-Fi welcome and click setup. Click a layout that suits you best. And then here you will see some custom sections here for your guidebook, which either you can have links straight to your guidebook or over to your homepage, or you can make use of this custom tile. So, an example of this would just be asking people to, directly go over to either the Hostco store and saying, would you like to upgrade your stay? You could also, be a little bit more, make something more specific. So if you know that 95% of the people are booking I think it was a sheep guided yarn tour. If you know that everyone is going to be doing that, you can also add that directly here. And make sure that the first thing that people see when they're signing into the Wi-Fi is a direct booking link to there. The text marketing, you're going to be setting that up right here. So as you can see, it's already set and turned on, but if you go into edit, what you'll see is the message that'll be sent to everyone as soon as they sign in to the Wi-Fi. So as you can see, this dynamic link for homepage URL is right here, and then the one for the Hostco is right here. So it's percentage Hostco URL. And you really have the power to customize this message in any way. So again, if you want to, send a message and the first thing that you want to say is, hi, if you'd like to upgrade your stay, you can book a private chef or go on that hike. and send them straight over to the homepage or to the host code directly. It really depends on what you see people are doing over time. If you see that people are booking the same thing, you can maybe go and customize this message and make it a little bit more direct, but you have a lot of flexibility here as well. So you just want to be making sure that, at any point in time that you can be, you're reminding people that they have the option to book something with the host, go upgrade their stay and, really make a more meaningful memory. And that's going to change, the outcome of the trip, get people booking again. And ultimately that's really what it's all about, is making sure that the guests are having a really wonderful stay that will influence them to book again. So, yeah. Perfect. And then with that, I think we can move on to the Q&A. I believe that my colleague Yvonne already answered the StayFi specific questions, so I believe the ones that are still in queue are directed specifically towards the host group.
Great. Should we start from the top? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Does it coordinate with Turno? That is the integration that we are currently working on. So we should have that done before the end of this year to update the late checkout timing on your Turno calendar. Is there a way that we can get a widget to share a host co-store and not just a link? Viator does that. It would eliminate the need for the guest to click a link to get the store. If you have, well, obviously on your StayFi homepage, you now have that link to click out to the store. It won't remain in your StayFi homepage, but it'll make another page essentially on your mobile. Certainly, if on your direct booking website, you can make a widget for it. It won't iframe into your website, but you can very well make a widget for it. You can also white label it where it is your URL plus hostco store and remove all of the hostco branding. Does the property owner get any portion of the upsell amount? Oh, yes. Is it mostly amenity for the customer? So the property owner gets 5 to 10% if it's a hostco amenity, 93 to 100% if it is your own amenity. And again, I highly recommend having your own amenities because you set the price on those amenities. So, you can buy firewood for $10 and sell it for $30. You can have your sister do portrait photography. You can, charge your guest be smart about it, but $250 and pay your sister $100, right? If you want to. How does the messaging look on their end? I would hate for them to feel like they bought something that we cannot fulfill. So it is clear that it is a request, and we immediately send an email that says, thank you for your request. We make it very, very clear that this is amenities booking, sort of like a concierge, that it is not any questions related to the property. In fact, we have a chat bot on all of our products, and we say immediately, hey, are you a guest? Yes. If this is a question regarding Wi-Fi, check-in, or your reservation, contact your host or property manager, right? We are only involved in the amenities portion. Again, it is also branded to your store. So it looks like it is your name of your property, your image of your property, and we only get involved when it is an amenity sale. Next, does Hostco charge us the credit card processing fee, or is that part of the commission? That is part of the commission. Sadly for us and not for you, we do build in a convenience fee for the guest. So every sale, and this is how the Hostco can operate as a free product, is there's an 8% convenience fee that your guest pays when they check out. So $50 checkout, they're going to have a $4, it's actually $4.30 convenience fee on their product. I have never, believe it or not, I've never heard a guest complain about it. So that's a really good thing. It's generally a small amount. They're traveling. That covers also the merchant processing fees. And that also covers, which the Hostco covers, which is a bummer for us. But if they cancel, we eat the 3% plus 30 cents return fee. Right? So you are never covering the merchant processing fees. The Hostco is the merchant of record. Next question, how do taxes work if it's a totally different type of sale? So we use Stripe as our merchant of record processor, which does have tax built in. Everything is essentially being treated as a taxable item, but in many cases, we have not hit the threshold, at least in the US, of that item. So, hey, mini Kentucky, $100,000, tax threshold to even start hitting the taxes. Next year, we will also be getting much more specific with the different types of items that you're selling. Often services don't have a tax implication on them in the US, and products do. Products represent honestly about 5% of Hostco sales. You really have to be more involved with your rental if you want to offer products, although we do inventory management and you can attach someone to restock for you. I noticed there are no names of businesses listed for food or shopping. I'd like to see the reviews of these businesses first before I recommend. How can I find out who or what these businesses are? For any of those businesses, there is a reason that we do not have that is somewhat generic, is because on the back end, our concierge is matching the best partner that we already have on file with that service. You can reach out to our chatbot in any time and say, what is the company for this massage service in this area? And we're happy to tell you all of those services. Also, you as a host or property manager in your Hostco store, on the very top, it says support. Underneath that, it says submit a vendor. So again, all of our vendors come through you. Can you, next question. I'm trying to roll through these guys. Can you explain how it works with outside vendors? Do we need to make arrangements with them privately, or is the link tracking and paying out based on their behavior? So with outside vendors from the Hostco, we have the relationship with them. We send that request to them instantly or within the hour of when your guest requests it. If it is your own vendor, let's say your sister, the portrait photographer, you set up in your store portrait photography this much on the back end of a tile, which is very intuitive to do. You can say add product and then add your sister's info. You can also come to a demo. We do them every day if you want further instruction on how to set up tiles. It then messages that vendor and lets them know if it's your sister, the portrait photographer, hey, this person wants this thing. If it is your vendor, we are paying you out. You are our customer, and you are then paying your sister, the portrait photographer. A very common example of this is mid-stay cleaning. We have not vetted your cleaner for insurance and business license. So if you are selling mid-stay cleaning, if you're offering mid-stay cleaning, we can notify your cleaner and say, can you do this on this day at this time? And your cleaner will likely at the end of the month say, hey, I did 4 extra cleans. Here's the record of these 4 extra cleans I did. I'm invoicing for 4 extra cleans. It's generally how that works. If it is an affiliate link, if it pushes out to an affiliate, if it's our affiliate, like Baby Quip, we don't do baby equipment ourselves, so we push you out to Baby Quip. We give you, and it says in the store, an amount of the affiliate revenue that we get. So we are tracking every single link. Next question, can we curate which services are displayed? 100%. I'm concerned about guests finding and getting excited about services we don't want in the home. Yes, every single tile can be turned off. When a tile is inactive, your guest will not see it. You can also just hit guest view and see what your guest sees. You can turn things off, and you can always turn them back on again if you want to start adding them in. You can also, and I recommend this, if you want to have any new tiles we add to your area, and we add, I don't know, maybe 1 every 3 months, right? We vet vendors and we also stack rank that. Like, oh my gosh, the host code, all of our hosts are asking for pink Jeep tours in Sedona. It's probably going to get higher up into the list. Every single store and universally across your account, you can go to account settings and say, start all vendors as inactive. So that means we will never add a new vendor to your store that your guests can see. You can see it later and you can turn it on, but most hosts want new vendors. Many of them are also offsite, right? So river tour experience, right? But you can always start them as inactive and turn anything to inactive. Your guests will never, ever see it. Vince says, love this as a whole. Yes. When you want to offer gift baskets or snacks for people to buy when they're staying, how do people lock up the store so people know it doesn't come standard and they have to buy it? And then easy for your staff to track when it's used. So in every tile that you add to your store, we also have a bunch of quick add tiles that are all templates already. there is a section that says instructions for your guest after purchase. Your guest never sees that information until they made a purchase. That information is on their email receipt in big red letters, right? So code to that drawer is 1234. Some people say firewood is in the garage under a tarp. Take only what you've purchased. You also then have a record of everything they purchased. You can also set inventory for everything they purchased that you can see in your store. You can also set other people to receive that inventory information if it's your cleaner. You can say, hey, firewood guy, I'm going to send you an email when we get down to one bundle, so you bring more, right? So you can set inventory for that, make sure your cleaner knows. Anything that you're selling on site, again, I mean, my rentals are 600 miles away from my house, so I actually don't sell anything on site in my rentals anymore. But someone who's more involved, we have people who are making thousands of dollars from, we've got a store and we've got like Tucson, we've got like 6 cute rentals on one location. It works really well for them. Let's see. Also gift baskets, we started to see gift basket delivery too. The other thing I'd say about that is hospitality first. Give what you can give for free and then upsell the rest. So if you want to give a welcome basket, often someone will say like, oh, I love that jam. Where do I get more of it? Oh, you want to buy an extra gift basket? Or they'll see in their store additional gift baskets. I will tell you those sell really, really well. So anything that you're giving for free, it's almost like a sample, right? Next question. Do you have a list of all the items people list or top ones that new partners get for ideas or things they can start to think about offering? Yes. So I will tell you the top services are always alterations, early checkout, late checkout, pool heating, etc. And then alterations, anything wellness related and anything food related is going to do well. Things, again, if you do have things on site, people will buy them. In your store, right after it's created, you can see all of the vendors that are in your store and turn them off automatically. And you can just see everything that's already available in your area. And if you want to request other services, go ahead and do so. How do you manage the other side of the affiliate deal? If I want to include a tile for a bike rental managed by, a complete separate vendor, wouldn't that rental shop need to be set up as a host co? So there's 2 ways to do that. There's one, submitting that to the host co as a vendor, which then we will do. I will tell you also, we onboard vendors, but we have very much learned that we will onboard a vendor on our side. And then 6 months later, they have a high school kid working at the front desk at the bike shop who has no idea when they get a host co request. So our concierge brings in that request and matches it to the bike shop. In general, there's one bike shop in your area. Our vendors, our concierge will call the bike shop and say, we have a guest that wants to request this thing. The request doesn't immediately go to the bike shop unless it's someone we use every single day of the year, right? So if a way that you can bring that vendor on yourself and do it immediately and not wait for the host code to ingest that vendor, which can take 4 weeks, you can have if you have a relationship with that bike shop, you can say, hey, Mike, I keep recommending you guys, and I would like to send those requests through my host co store. You can either do that and say, hey, Mike, every time you get a request through the host co, I would like 5% of that deal. You have to know them well enough to do that. Or you can say, hey, Mike, I'm going to send people your way, and I'm going to say there's 3 types of bike rentals, $10, $50, $100, and I'm going to process that, and we're going to pay you out if you have a close relationship with that bike vendor. We see that all the time. Hey, my friend has a bakery and will do morning bakery delivery, and I set a cost for it. They get the request. They agree to the request, but I pay them out at the end of the month, right? We have people who say, I've got 50 rentals on an island, and we have our own chef. I don't want that chef to be a host co-vendor. I want it to be my own vendor. I will pay them out. So I am running that experience, but I am enabling that chef to see every single sale. So they are very much aware of it. Another cool thing that you can do with this is you can offer discounts, or you can offer like a freebie at a coffee shop. So a really good example of that is $1. You can add a tile and say $1 latte at Joe's coffee shop, right? You can give that in your store, and your guest has to put it in their cart. Then they get a code, like free latte Joe. in their email. What you've done is, one, you've gotten that guest email, and two, you can make sure Joe sees every time you do that, you're a really good friend to Joe, and it's a loss leader for that coffee shop. No one's going to just go and get a dollar latte. They're going to buy 8 muffins and 3 other coffees. So it's a good way to also offer really great things to your guests that are kind of exclusive, that if they're staying somewhere else, they're not going to get that freebie. That freebie is also going to get them into your host co store to see, oh, late checkout, $50. Oh, massage, $200. So a lot of really cool ways you can do that. How do you manage the other? Oh, so that's a different ways that you manage the affiliate. Next question. Can you give an example? If you create stock the fridge item, can it link to a service provider? Yes. So we have providers that do that in many areas. Or if you have someone on your team, let's say you're a property management company, you have a runner on your team. You can have that fridge stocking tile, and you can include that person on your team to get a notification to approve it. I would say fridge stocking is a little bit more complicated because obviously you have to get into the rental ahead of time. And there's a lot of variables with grocery and what people want. You can say, hey, order the groceries and we will go pick them up and stock them for you. And that is a great flat fee as well. But we also do link to our concierge providers that do that, like in Telluride, I think. And what happens is we link to that provider and you get a portion of the affiliate, and you don't have to worry about what your guest, if they want soy milk or oat milk, right? Thank you. Fabulous presentation. We are all in with the host code. That's great. Next, if you create tiles for properties, can you duplicate those for other properties? 100%. So, I didn't get into this too deeply, but every single tile, you can go, if let's say through StayFi, you've made 20 host co stores. They're all in one account. You can go to that first store and say, add a tile that's firewood, it's $50. Add this tile to every one of my host co stores. Oh, hey, I want to update the price of late checkout and I want to update it. You can update it in one store and you can say, change that in every single one of my stores. So you don't have to go into every store and modify things all the time. The other thing that you can do is, if you'd like, you can say, you know what, I want to make one store exactly as I want it, and I can duplicate that store and give it a new name. You just want to make sure that you're putting that store link in StayFi. But you do not have to manually create things for every store at all. Okay. How do you make an item free for an I'm sorry gift? That is something that you then would be paying for. So it's a relationship that you have with that florist, right? If you're like, hey, I want to send this over, I'm going to pay for it every time. So you're going to have to either get an invoice from that person, or you're going to have to just make sure that they have the visibility to keep track of those sales. Generally, that's a request as well. So you're going to see that come through. The cool thing is everyone can get that request on their phone too. Are you able to track metrics for clicks, view rates per store? That is coming. So we will have that soon. Can I have the national names of the chef and massage therapist? Yes. Soothe is one company. Zeal is another. I don't run our vendor team, but you can reach out to vendors@thehost.co and they can also tell you third and fourth versions. Can you speak to the travel insurance that you have selected? How was that plan selected? Wavo. So Wavo is our travel insurance. It's actually rental protection. It's not liability, it's rental protection. Partner, and they are owned by Proper Insurance. And they were selected. They are very tech friendly. So what happens is, immediately when your guests can purchase that right away, and we don't have to request it. It sends Wavo that information, and Wavo automatically creates the rental protection based on the date that your guest has said they are arriving. So they immediately have that protection. It's one and done. They're also very, very good with, you don't have to have your guest send in a picture. You don't have to send in a picture. You just say, they broke a lamp, the end, right? Does it connect to Breezeway? That is also, we love Breezeway. That is also coming very soon. Someone else said, can there be variations on pricing? Yes. There's 2 ways to do that. 3 ways to do that. One, you can say this is per hour or per 30 minutes for something like late checkout, massage. There is also, you can do multiple tiles if it is your own product, small basket, large basket, multiple variations. That's also something we're almost done with as well. And that will change the the amount of money, right? So you can do small, medium, large. Or bundles of firewood. Yes, you can do that. In your store, your guests, just like on Target or something like that, I can say, I want 2 of those, I want 3 of those, and they have multiple opportunities to increase their amount. Does this cause any issues with Airbnb terms of service? No. So we talk to Airbnb frequently. If you have a PMS, your PMS is also doing the very same thing, right? So Airbnb does not block any of our links. And as long as you are not getting them to rebook with you offsite, Airbnb doesn't really, they are fine with it. They don't scrape any of our links. People are already doing that with things like shoulder stays and booking offsite. But I wouldn't just maybe do it immediately from Airbnb. Okay, next, since this is our Stripe account, we are the payment processor and therefore we are responsible. The host co is the merchant of record. We are paying you out through your ACH account. This is all managed through our Stripe account as the host co, as the merchant of record. And that is very important because that is also taking into account fraud protection and know your customer protection. How that works is we process the charge through the host co as the merchant of record. We then hold the funds in Stripe until we pay you out. The reason we do that is because returns, chargebacks, right? We can't pay you out immediately. That's a fraud protection thing. It's like you could just disappear, right? So we pay out after the date of service of that item. So that also enables, if your guest says, hey, we can't make it, we don't need that early check-in, great, cancel, right? And we don't hold that in any host co bank accounts. It's also within our merchant of record. How we pay you out is through ACH. That's actually a Stripe product, but it is totally different than your own personal Stripe account. If you would like to be the merchant of record in the future, we will likely have that as a possibility, but it becomes a little bit more difficult because we don't want to have you pay out our vendor. And if there is a chargeback on that vendor or return, we want to be able to take care of all of that for you so you don't have to deal with it. So I think that is all of those rapid fire questions, but I'm happy to answer any more. And yes, it's being recorded.
Yes, yeah, we'll go ahead and post a recording of this webinar on our YouTube, and then I'll also go ahead and send the recording out to everyone who's registered as well.
Great. This was super fun. Please, I encourage you, any of you, if you would like to attend one of our demos. We talk about StayFi in the demo, and we can answer questions about that StayFi integration as well through our demo. But if you're looking for things like how do I add gratuity or how do I add gift certificates for future stays, we can cover all of that for you.
Thank you so much, Annie.
Bye, everybody.
Perfect.
Have a good
Bye-bye,
one.
everyone. Thank you so much.